What is up everyone on YouTube, and today we're going to be talking all about Ainz, the main character of Overlord, how you guys want to play him, and how you guys actually want to build him as well. Now this unit is free from the collab, you guys just have to do the quest, and they will basically give it to you for free. You'll also get his artifact for free as well, and you'll get max imprint for him and max limit break for this artifact just by playing through the event. Now this unit is pretty cool. From design, he looks like he's supposed to be very strong, but in theory, even though he is strong, in practice, he's not that great. And you'll probably see why if we actually look at his skills here. So if you look at his S3, it is a full dispel from one enemy before silencing for one turn, so very similar to like Zio's S3. And then you'll also actually inflict Death Sentence. Now Death Sentence is going to be an undispellable debuff at the start of someone's 12th turn, so anyone's 12th turn. It just keeps ticking on every single turn. You will deal 50,000 fixed damage, and this ignores damage sharing effects. Not like that, it will matter anyways, and this dispels when the caster dies, so pretty strong ability it looks like. The only problem with this is that you're going to notice that this can get resisted, unlike a unit like Lethe, right? Lethe here has her S3, this cannot be resisted. Actually, I guess it's in the S2, right? Omen, the thing that one-shots you, this cannot get resisted, which is really weird because Ainz's can. I'm not too sure if that was an oversight, but it just feels really bad because you're going to notice he's very hard to build. You need very high effectiveness, you need high speed, and you need high bulk. So because of that, you can't really invest too high into effectiveness like you can with like an Angel of Light. And because of that, this gets resisted a lot of the times. And feels really bad because honestly, this ability is used to kill tanky units, it feels like, kind of like Lethe's. And if you don't have high enough effectiveness to land it on those Knights and Soul Weavers, you can't really do anything, right? Also, this doesn't have extinction like Lethe's. I think those two changes to Ainz would make him very good. You don't have to give this effect resist, ignore straight up. Maybe like a Soul Burn on his S3 would be very nice because from how it feels right now, his S3, it should be very strong, but it is just very weak. And this gets resisted by a lot of bosses in PvE, so even in PvE, he feels pretty bad as well. Next, we have his S2 passive. Pretty weird passive. You're going to see he takes increased damage from white elemental enemies by 30%. So I guess that's for his lore. But if you think about it, that is just terrible because let's look at the light units, right? Concorlius, very strong still. And even though she doesn't do that much damage, keep in mind that her S1, because she's very fast, will stack up on you. She's also bringing another ally, so you'll probably get 2 hit by this. Very annoying. Lionheart Sirmia, don't even get me started. This unit completely destroys Ainz because Ainz has a built-in counterattack, so she just one-shots him. Bellion completely destroys him as well. Before Ainz can even get his death sentence off on Bellion, Bellion will end up countering and just killing him. 1 S3 into like 2 S1s will actually end up just destroying him. Last Rider Crow will actually 2-shot him with his S3, very stupid. Navy Captain Landy, yes, destroys him as well. Savior Aiden, as you guys know, already counters Dark units, and now she just one-shots him. Even Unbound Knight Airwell, consistently doing a lot of damage. Just a ton of light units that will just completely shaft him, so I'm not really too sure why that's a thing in the game on his passive. Like I said, I think it's for his lore. In the anime, he's weak to light and fire, but it just makes him super weak, right? Or a lot weaker than he should be. Also, you see when an ally's attacked, he has a chance to activate Mana Barrier, which happens every 3 turns. Mana Barrier is a barrier to everyone. This barrier is like super shitty, so you don't have to even think of it as a barrier. But the biggest thing is you get a counter-attacking stance. And like I mentioned, this can be good or bad depending on who you're against. Rwana's, Lionheart Sirmia's will do very well against him. But this is very nice because his S1 is an AoE attack with a chance to stun. And this hits pretty hard actually. I think a lot of people actually tried him on a full damage build with like 80 souls from your entire team holding Taga Hells, and you just soul burn your S1 over and over and win. But that seems very cheesy, so yeah, I think what they should do is probably move this soul burn into his S3. It'll make him a lot less cheesy and a lot more consistent, because right now the current way to play him, which a lot of people have been having success with, is you just bring 4 mages, all with Toggl's Ancient Book. You have Ainz just S1 4 times in a row. You pray you stun, and you pray you do a lot of damage, and you win. So yeah, not too sure about that. But this is my build on Ainz. I don't really like the 4 Toggle Hell's Ancient Book build because it's super cheesy. It still gets countered by a lot of stuff, and I kind of want my Ainz to be more playable alone. So this is the build I have him on. I have him on a speed set, effectiveness set. I think this is the best way to play him, and that is because you do want him to land your death sentence, and you also want him to land your S1. Some people like to run him on effect resist actually, which is also viable. You can go high effectiveness or high effect resist. I think you should go either or. If you go into both, it ends up being useless because a lot of units want more than like a certain threshold, and 100% just won't cut it for a lot of situations. And that's because you want to protect this counter attack buff you have. So that's why a lot of people like to go effect resist. I think either or is fine. I like effectiveness more though. It's more consistent, especially in Guild Wars when you want to kill things with your S3. So this is what I have him at. For stats, other stats rather, you probably want him pretty fast. I like to run him at 250, 260 speed. Some people like to run him at like 160 speed on counter set. That's also viable, and they just give up on effect resist completely. However, I think 260 speed is fine. You can just cycle fast with him, get a lot of S3s off and a lot of S1s off, and also the rest goes into bulk. Now, how much bulk you want is really up to you. Of course, you can drop some of his bulk for more effectiveness or effect resist. I like this. I think like 180-ish% effectiveness is enough, and I just go the rest into bulk, staying above 250 speed. Now for his artifact, there's a lot of choices. Some people like his own because it gives him more stats, because he is very hard to build. Some people, like I said, like to go Toggle Hell's Ancient Book because you can stack souls on him and then spam your S1. I like to go Abyssal Crown because this bumps it up to almost 50% chance per unit when you S1 to stun them, and that's just super annoying. It's kind of like the old Dizzy. If you guys didn't know, Dizzy, long time ago when she was strong, she has pretty much the same S1. Yeah, pretty much the exact same. So because of that, people ran her on Abyssal Crown. She also has a ton of AoE, so it was a little bit better on her. But honestly, Ainz does have to S1 a lot. He also has his counter attacks, so having Abyssal Crown is very toxic if it lands, and if you have high effectiveness, higher chance to land. So this is what I have him on. I like to run him like this because it makes him more of a disruptor, kind of like an RNG unit. And because Ainz, in my opinion, isn't that strong, if you're relying on RNG for him to do well, I think that's a good thing because he's bad. So that's what I have him at. And yeah, this is my build for him. Now, in terms of who you want to bring him into and how you want to play him, he's very good as a disruptor. You want to bring him with another damage dealer because his damage is pretty pitiful. You won't get more than like 2 S3s off in a battle most likely because of that. You definitely need another damage dealer. If you do end up getting more than 2, the game was probably over from the start. So I like to run him with another damage dealer, and also you probably want to pair him with some supports. Crimson Armin's very good. Ooal is pretty good with him. Last Strike Crow, any knight to keep him up, and even like a cleanser for him to make sure he can take his turns because he really wants to get his S1 off. So Ocean Breeze Luca, Destina, it's really up to you. Best composition for him is going to be a damage dealer, a tank, a knight, right? And then also a support unit. So that's probably the best comp you can get. In terms of what counters him, there's a ton. Every single light unit I mentioned prior. Also anything that goes fast. So Zeo completely destroys him. If Zeo S3s you, you're just kind of useless. Also see Phantom Politis destroys him. Lua and Noggle also destroy him as well. If we can actually find them, right? Noggle destroys him, Lua destroys him, and Rand destroys him. Probably the most common cleaver here will also destroy him. So have to be very careful. Especially with the release of Phantom Politis, she is super popular right now. You're probably not going to be able to play him that often. If you play him in Guild Wars, you can just pick your teams and choose. But in RTA, he's definitely like a 4th pick, 5th pick unit because he has so many counters. Pretty much any light unit destroys him, so you have to be very careful. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Ainz. I think he is definitely a weak unit. There's a lot of ways to build him, but honestly, every single build for him kind of sucks. He's just a bad unit. Let me know in the comments down below though what you guys think he should be buffed for. I think his S3 definitely needs to be buffed. Like I mentioned, I think if this ignores effect resist even and has extinction, it'd be a lot better. I don't think that'll make him super broken because we honestly have the same thing in Lethe, right? And to be honest, Lethe is just way better because her S3, with her Omen combo, just one-shots units, and you can chain these off because your S3 is AoE, right? So I think like having that would be very nice for Ainz, that extinction and death sentence having ignore effect resist, with the soul burn even moving as well to it. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next video.